one me kontrolišu. Ok, znači sad da njih spustim ovako, ne. Jeste tu?
Mi vidimo i prezentaciju koju ste šerovali.
Dobro.
Samo šerujte, pokrenite snimanje.
Čekaj, da šerujem, valjda sam je šerovala, ne znam.
Jest.
Jeste, vidi se.
Dobro. Hvala Dane, valjda je sve u redu.
Samo pokrenite snimanje i kliknite na prezentaciju da bi mogli da slajdove.
Da, samo sekundu, da kliknem na prezentaciju. A neće sada se.
Jeste pokrenuli snimanje?
Pa nisam još, ali svejedno i nezavisno od snimanja, ja hoću prvo da se predstave. Nezavisno od snimanja, trebalo bi da mogu da pomeram prezentaciju.
Možete samo morate da kliknete na nju.
Pa kliknula sam.
Jeste je pokrenuli?
Ovaj.
Vi ste otvorili prezentaciju?
Jesam.
Ali niste pokrenuli na ono dugme?
Jesam, ja mislim sada jesam.
To je to, sad jest.
Dobro. Da, i pre nego što, dobro, onda ću krenuti recording kada mi se predstave. Ok. Važi, hvala. Ok. So, hello. Please close the door. Here we have only two students, Una and Dušanka, present, and online we have Jelena. You have to introduce yourselves, please, again, because yesterday evening I could not see your faces and could not hear who is who. So, your name, colleague, can you hear me?
Yes. Do you want me to go first?
You can, but then Alexander and somebody else. Okay, first Jelena. Okay. Jelena, you are in Berlin and you've been working. I forgot. Okay, tell us.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you again, everyone. Yes, I am Jelena Subic, and I have educational background in law, but I am doing in my professional work, I'm a project manager in the non-governmental sector. I've started my career 7 years ago now by working in CRTA, Center for Research, Transparency and Accountability organization. After that, I started working in Media Diversity Institute Western Balkans, where I'm also a project manager, and I'm dealing with the topic of media, diversity, representation of minority groups, and the sensitive groups. And we are monitoring hate speech in the media, and also dealing with media and information literacy. And right now, I'm currently changing my job again. So in December, I will be quitting my job in MDI and I will start working in the OSCE mission to Serbia on something totally different this time. I will be working on an environmental legislative, and I will be working with the parliament most of the time on adopting the laws which are regarding environmental.
But when working in the field of environmental issues related to legislation, you will become very competent for reconsidering legislation from the gender competent point of view. So maybe you can insist also to move or to work also in the OSCE Gender Equality Department, because we have had a really good cooperation with that department all the time during the Lodgen project and during organizing summer and spring schools, which had served for preparing professors for this master's program.
Yeah, I know that actually. I've done my research, so yeah, I know that. I was actually interviewed for working in human rights and non-discrimination sector in OSCE, but I don't know what happened. When I got the information about my job, they told me that I will not be working in that sector. I will be working in democratization sector, democratic governance, and on this project that I mentioned. But yeah, I will definitely, I'm here on this MA because I want to gain as much as knowledge as I can to actually implement it in my work, because every time in CERTA, in MDI, and now here, everything is like interdisciplinary. Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, concerning environmental issues, environmental law, and the gender perspective, in the Logic project, the project of building the joint master program, it will be actual from the next year, I hope. Within that joint master, we planned the course environmental law and environmental issues in general, and gender perspective. And
wow.
Yes, and we have already had some chapters in some of the books. I will tell a few words about that later on. Springer book series, Gender Perspectives in Law, and we have already published, I think Professor Bojana Čučković has one chapter written about this issue. And one book is planned to be published, the whole book about environmental issues and gender equality from gender equality perspective. Okay, thank you, Jelena. Yes, we are
nice. Thank you.
We are very much in, so just have that in mind.
I will.
Alexander?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Lisulov. We already met. I was there in person yesterday, but couldn't make it today. I'm a graduate of the Belgrade Faculty of Law, so I'm just continuing my education here. It's something of a family tradition, actually. Both of my parents also finished this university, and in fact, you were a professor for my mother was there as a student. That's something I learned recently. You taught her Marxism, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
But feminist, there was the feminist working group, and I hope that she took, what was her name?
Branka Lazarević at the time.
I can't. That's so nice.
I didn't expect you to remember her, but that was a fun fact I learned recently when I mentioned your name.
Fantastic. Send my greetings. So it's really interesting.
I will, and I currently work at the Ministry of Finance here in Belgrade. I graduated last year, and this master is something I've been interested in since then. I actually planned to be part of the first generation, but wasn't able to graduate in time, unfortunately. So I enrolled this year. The subject matter of this master is something that has interested me for a long time. I'm already familiar with a lot of things relating to gender, to politics, ideology, discrimination, human rights. I'm interested in politics.
Taxation, and
I am a little bit interested in taxation because it's what I work with, but I don't think anybody finds taxes especially interesting.
I'm not sure. For example, our Professor Svetislav Kostić and Lidija Živković, they've been involved in giving lectures for taxation. We call that course gender equitable taxation. And they also plan to publish one book within the book series, which I mentioned, one whole book about taxation, impacts of taxation for gender equality issues. So that really is a very relevant topic.
I'll definitely give it a look. I certainly might grow to love taxes in time. You never know where life will take you. But as I said, I'm very interested in this master. I look forward to meeting you all and working with you all and learning more about this and discussing it with everyone.
Very nice. And just to say one more word concerning whether anybody is or is not interested in taxes and taxation, Piketty, the well-known, let's say maybe Marxist theoretician, but very well-known currently, he wrote the book capitally in the 21st century. And there he explains how taxes have been crucial. So genesis of taxations, starting from the New Deal and the period before, and afterwards, during the welfare state period after the Second World War. So changes in the taxation policies were crucial for the development of social rights, for how to say, a redistribution of budgets, for right to education, pensions, healthcare. So taxations are very important, and also
yes, I agree. I think taxes and human rights in particular are quite related.
Yes.
I think everyone's heard that famous American quote, no taxation without representation. That's what they said when they rebelled against the British. And taxes and representation have been tied together historically for a long time.
Yes.
And there's also a lot to be said about tax brackets, how certain groups of people are taxed less or more, how that affects discrimination. And it's a very complicated subject matter, but it is interesting.
But in the countries in which taxes rose from, first they were around 10%. Then in the Great Britain and the United States, they went up at most of 30%. But in the welfare states, for example, Nordic countries in the Western Europe, they went even up to the 60%. There, the redistribution for human rights, for social rights was much more significant. Okay.
Yes, they have the famous system of social democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Scandinavia is famous for that, and they have high taxes, but a very high standard of living and just generally very well-functioning societies.
Yes. Okay, thanks. And the third colleague online, I can't pronounce his name, Seifel or something like that. Hi.
Thank you, madam, to give me the floor. This is Saiful Islam Majumdar. I am from Bangladesh.
You're from Bangladesh. When are you coming?
I come shortly, inshallah. I completed my
Hardly.
maybe in January, first week of January, maybe.
So you will come soon.
Soon, yeah.
I completed. What is your
background? I completed my graduation from the Department of Finance and Banking.
Good.
Finance and Banking, University of Rajshahi, Bangladesh, and completed my master's in Public Financial Management from University of Kragujevac, Serbia. And now enrolled with your program, and I have know nothing about the law. I want to learn the law and gender from other colleagues. That's
fantastic. I'm really very happy that you take part in this project. Thanks a lot. Okay, and here we have Dushanka shortly, and you will tell me whether you can hear our colleagues here. There are four of them. First, Dushanka shortly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dushanka. I have a background in political science. I have a bachelor in international relations, and I work as a Balkans program coordinator in Latvian Human Rights Organization. And when I started working there, we had something called strategic litigation in advocating for passing the law on same-sex union and going to the European Court of Human Rights. And I really got interested in law, particularly in that aspect. And that's like how I actually came.
Very good. Here. Very good. And here you will get a lot of knowledge related to the relevant positive law, but also interdisciplinary approach is included. That's
the subject that you'll have in January or February. I don't know. It's really interesting, like feminist perspective on these judgments. I'd like to see like clear perspective on those judgments.
Fantastic, because feminist judgments generally means reconsidering actual case law so critical reconsidering from the gender equality perspective, but also it can be reconsidered in a more advanced way from the point of non-binary people's equality, gender equality. Good. So feminist judgments are very important. That's the huge knowledge production stream within feminism, which has to expand or to advance it. It's by itself is the advancement, but it can and should also advance more in this diversity perspective. And it really is very important. Important for judges, for lawyers, for prosecutors, for or legal officers, for their gender sensitization.
But that's the whole approach. I mean,
Yes.
only that whole approach.
And of course, it is also very important, for example, for parliamentarians, for those who are included into articulating law, legislation, etc., etc., and then the others in interpreting and applying the law. Okay, good. Dusan, could you hear her? Alexandre?
Yes, I could hear her fine.
Yes.
Okay. Una, maybe you should sit closer. Emmanuel, actually.
Hello, everyone. I am Una Danilovic. I have a bachelor at law and from University of Union. And I'm currently a legal advisor at Lawyers Committee for Human Rights. I've been at UCOM for 2 years now, but also from UCOM. But also from university days, gender topics have been a part of my work, from obstetric violence to women refugees, but also UCOM has a great history and also the present for gender topics, gender advocacy on women rights in Serbia, but on international level also, monitoring gender-based violence, etc. And of course, many cases before the European Court of Human Rights. So I think I have a little bit experience, but I'm also I'm looking forward to confirm it with this theoretical part of the talk.
And concerning human rights court, European Human Rights Court case law, you said many cases. But in many cases, coming from, in many decisions, many decided upon cases, feminist perspective as the intersectional, a complex feminist perspective coming from multiple discrimination point of view has not been enough present. That is also the advancing process, something what should be done. Reconsideration of the case law court also has to be done, because single axis of discrimination in the case of gender has been mostly present, and that's the problem, because that's not enough. Okay, so that's very good that we have students who have already been professionally attached to different dimensions of this issue, and I'm really very happy because of that. And also for those students from law and other faculties who haven't dealt with this topic yet, it is important for any of their professions in the future. Kolegica, sorry, you could come closer.
Doing class.
And you can, but I think you should sit closer, because I'm not sure how well they can. Just come closer. For us is more simple to, I think, because this is not the best internet solution, and transferring online mechanism. So, and this here is not very advanced technology. So, please.
I'm Myla. I'm just
Myla.
Myla, yes. And I'm an Erasmus student, so
good.
I'm not really like taking really much part of this program. I'm just here for this course, and then in January also for feminist documents. Just like, yeah, I thought it was really interesting to see.
Fantastic. So you opted for this course?
Yes.
Very good. You will give me your email address.
Yes.
And tell us something about your education. Where are you from?
I'm from Germany, Hamburg. I'm actually studying law there. And yeah, I'm like in the, not having my bachelor yet. I'm still like in studying, but they told me that I can take part.
Of course,
in
you
those
can.
courses. And I thought it's really interesting to get like a feminist perspective, because especially in Germany, we don't really do this. We don't really have like a perspective on gender or feminist approach. So I thought it's really interesting for me to get knowledge here. Yeah.
So I agree, Myla,
Yes.
sorry, Myla, with you. For example, we from this project, we have close connections with Professor Susan Baer. She used to be the judge of the Federal Constitutional Court of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been leading gender studies at Humboldt University. But there are really, I'm not pretentious when I say that this program is the first one with a systemic approach through all fields of legal studies, reconsiders from a feminist perspective. And so when you have gender studies at some faculties, we also have here at undergraduate studies, gender studies as an optional course. But that is not enough.
Yes.
So the whole legal studies done again, rethought from feminist perspective. It means also that professors had to reconsider their knowledge and to do an additional knowledge production for themselves. And also that is something what gives really a new knowledge result and something relevant for the practice. Mm-hmm. So it's good. And when we manage, and if we manage to get that another one joint master with colleagues from Italy and Sweden, Erasmus Mundus joint master for the next year. This year we were on the reserve list, understandable, but it doesn't matter. When we get it, then expanding of this systemic approach will be expanded across Europe and beyond Europe, because that project, that joint master recruits students from the whole world, not only from Europe. That really is something fantastic. And in that logic, Law and Gender, Intersectionality and Diversity joint master, we included much more courses, and it really is fantastic. So one day maybe you will again be students of that joint master. You?
My name is Martin.
Martin.
I'm the Erasmus student as well, also from Hamburg. I'm studying law there as well. And in Hamburg, I do voluntary work as legal advice for refugees. And there I also see like the double suffering from women under the law.
Oh, yes.
Cis male people. And this is one of the reasons I took this course, and in general, as Myla also, because we don't have really something comparable in Germany.
Fantastic. And there is the course Migrations and the Gender.
Yes.
So that also would be very interesting. And this is not a double suffering or only double discrimination of refugee women, but many other grounds of their discrimination may be included, for example, their age, their social status, and many disability, let's say, etc., etc. And we will speak about this intersectionality approach to gender-based discrimination. Okay, thanks a lot. Now I will start recording. Just a second. Opet sam to izgubila. Sorry, just a second. I don't know what happened with, I can't turn on recording. More sharing options. Just a second, excuse me. Ne znam sad šta je ovo. Grozan je ovaj. Da, thank you. So here it is. Thank you, I forgot. Okay, so here it is. So recording. What I forgot to say, but recording, no, okay, I will not, I did not start it. Before I start, I hope that you will register at Moodle as soon as possible. Please insist with Anna Mehmeti, the assistant of the head of this master's program, or the head of Ivana Krstic, but Anna Mehmeti helps her, and with Petar Pavlovic, on getting your code number for registering for Moodle, because we do everything through Moodle platform. Maybe some of you are not familiar. I heard yesterday that some Chinese students were not familiar, maybe some of you as well, but it is very easy. And when you get this when you manage to register, then you will have that Moodle platform for our course, Feminist, Political and Legal Theories, everything, PowerPoint presentation, recording of the lecture, additional sources, and that is the space where you start working on your exam. I mentioned that yesterday. Immediately after the lecture, tonight or tomorrow morning, I will announce 2 assignments related to this lecture. I will send them to you by email this time because you still have not been registered at Moodle. But then and this morning I will send to Erasmus students, you will give me your email addresses and I will forward you email which I sent today to other students. There was attached also exam instructions. Those exam instructions are instructions valid for Moodle. There you have the deadlines, the technique of uploading your responses to those assignments, etc., etc. So everything is there. So please be focused on registering for the Moodle. And I also prepared the hard copy of the reader. And tomorrow I will bring it. That is in the copy office because she did not have a time to print enough number of samples. So tomorrow I will bring it before your lectures at another course. And that hard copy can be substituted because I will upload that also at Moodle so that you can use when one or another version fits you better. That is also, and what I have already uploaded, there is the book which we published within the LLM project. That was a European Commission project. This is the final, the best, the real result of that project, this Gender Master. And within that project, we published, five partners from Germany, Spain, Italy, Sweden, and from here, we published the book, Springer published an open access book, Gender Competent Legal Education, a very, how to say, distinguished book due to the fact that up to now, it has been viewed more than 300,000 times. Unbelievable. But it is an open access, but still so many views, it really is something special, peculiar. And also we have established the book series called Gender Perspectives in Law. And up to now, already have been published 5 books. Again, Springer, that's the Springer book series, and 5 more are in the process of publishing. They are not an open access, but some of them I will upload at the Moodle for your internal use. So this gender competent legal education, do not forget, it is uploaded at Feminist Political and Legal Theories Moodle place. I don't know how to say, but you will be able to use that for all our other courses which you will opt for, because there is a plenty of relevant chapters there. And so the reader you will get tomorrow, registration as soon as possible, and starting working on assignments. If some of you will have the problem to do the assignments, to finish them until the deadline, please inform me about that. I will not be very strict, so I can change that deadline. But don't do that, because you have many obligations, many courses, rather intensive work will go on during the first semester within these 5 mandatory courses. So do not wait. Prepare when you get PowerPoint presentations from me and maybe the other. I always send it also by email and then put also on the Moodle, at the Moodle. But read them, think about them, read the sources within the hard copy reader and also those uploaded there, and be ready for the classes and for working on your assignments as soon as possible. That is all what I wanted to say. And today we will speak.
This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
Today we are talking about feminist approaches or feminist perspectives. In plural is the right formulation. However, I will speak more in singular, but we always will know that there is not only one feminist approach, and the intersectionality approach to multiple gender-based discrimination, which is our topic of consideration. How to say? It has been my summing up of all relevant dimensions of that perspective, but it does not mean that all other authors dealing with this topic would include all these premises which I am including, or there will be some differences, but this is a very relevant framework for your understanding of the contemporary feminism and the most relevant feminist approaches, because they are summed up at least those most relevant dimensions of feminist approach or approaches nowadays from different streams of thought, from the second wave, liberal, socialist, radical feminism, from the third wave of feminism's post-modern theories and post-feminisms. So this is, I would say, competent, relevant interpretation, but never take it as granted. That is how I tried, and I think managed to encompass all relevant dimensions, but be always critical and open for other interpretations and for putting into question some of my opinions. So feminist approaches are very shortly to say, because the time is passing, and we will work in the way that we have the lecture 1 hour and then a short break and 1 hour again, but we already spent more than half an hour, so maybe I will work a little bit shorter with these 1 hour lectures planned duration. And something very important to say, this part of the lecture today, because this is a very complex and rather long presentation, and there is no way and there is no need for completing it, for fulfilling, for saying everything what is planned tonight, because as I indicated yesterday evening, the main part of this presentation, in more details, talking about intersectionality approach, which is our main focus, will be left for my first lecture at Methodology and Practical Skills course. It will be the next week, Monday, I think. And this Friday, I will go on with reconsidering the history of feminist political theory, the history of mainstream political theories from the feminist perspective. So I will go step forward, but then I will come back to this topic at the first lecture at Methodology. It will not be for you, how to say, anything bad, I think only useful, because this is a complex lecture, and then I will repeat the main parts, the main premises of that, and we'll go more in depth concerning intersectionality approach, and then we will have it completed. And the recordings of both parts I will put together at this site for feminist political and legal theories, because for methodology it is relevant. You cannot enter that course without this theoretical methodological part. Of course, that you also have technical parts like yesterday, and you will have 2 more lectures related to methodics. But also this theoretical methodological part is important. And then that course will entail glossaries. I will also take part in that and repeat some things, because it is important that some things come into your mind as relevant, so they will come from a few lectures. At least that is my plan, and I think a reasonable one. And then for methodology, all of that is, how to say, collecting informations. And the main result of the methodology course is that you do with Professor Milana Đorđević the mock exam, and then the final exam, which is to pass or to fail. And the final exam is, so the only part which will be the exam part at methodology is that mock exam. She will give, not mock exam is what she will try with you. She will offer you some seminar paper with errors. She will, by intention, make erroneous parts. For example, references, quotations, titles, subtitles. And the idea is at methodology that you, at the end, after all those different lectures, that you learn how to make a proper essay, master thesis or seminar paper, etc. So many divergent things, but with a simple result. And there I will use that one lecture for completing today's lecture. So feminist approaches, or they mean some, let's say, the lenses or analytical tool or theoretical methodological standpoint for considering gender-based discrimination and for articulating ways out from entrenched gender inequalities. And so considering the existing discriminatory states of affairs with an activist idea, first to understand them, and then to search for the ways out in the policy making, in the legislation, articulation, interpretation, application, and in all other fields of social life. So it means developing gender-based gender awareness and gender-sensitive approach. So ability to reconsider different fields, different phenomena, different social relations from this perspective of gender inequalities. Because gender inequalities are embedded in our individual lives, in our social, in our mutual relations with some other individuals within groups, in our social relations in general in our family relations and also in the public space. And it is also very important to understand that this gender-sensitive approach or gender awareness or gender lenses have to include diversity approach which does not reduce gender relations only to binary ones, but have to include non-binary LGBTQI and plus interrelations of persons. So diversity has to be part of this gender-sensitive approach, gender awareness and feminist perspectives. Of course, later on we will talk about whether feminisms always involve a queer approach or not, or there are sometimes also some tensions, but in most simplified or most general manner, we can speak about feminist approaches, including all of this. As I said, activist character of feminist approaches has to be because feminist approaches within feminist movements and also within feminist knowledge production cannot be just some kind of getting insights. Always, again, it has to be something what strives towards the practical changes. And concerning that, I mentioned, I did not take the last global gender gap report from 2026. I saw it, but I forgot to replace. And I cannot remember, to be honest, whether there is some difference. But due to the global gender gap report of the World Economic Forum from I will mention that later. It would take 132 years to reach gender equality, so without any interventions. So this activist character of feminist approaches means those interventions, to make it shortly. And as I said, plurality of feminist approaches does exist, but there are convergences, and the basic convergences will be summed up in my presentation. And so these are the main premises which I'm including into my understanding of summing up or converging or most relevant dimensions of feminist approaches nowadays. I mentioned and have it in mind, and you will see under 5, intersectionality approach will be mentioned. Intersectionality approach is our focus. That's the most relevant and most comprehensive understanding, articulation of feminist approaches, or intersectionality as analytical tool is the paradigmatic for most relevant feminist approaches nowadays. But it has to include or be based on these prior premises, which I am also mentioning. First, that is patriarchy and gender-based violence rooted in patriarchy. Then dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation. So patriarchy as the dominant model of social relations during the whole pre-modern history. And within that, I will explain very shortly how gender-based violence is related to that. But then another premise, which is very important to me, dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation. The point of that, you will see later, is that from modernity times, and contemporary times. So it means at least from 17th, 18th, in a wider sense, even 2 centuries before, but at least from 17th, 18th century, that patriarchy has not been anymore the prior, the dominant pattern of social relations, starting from family or from binary context and non-binary as well, but there are emancipatory trends. So the dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation has been on agenda since that time. Why is that? To me, it's so important, and I'm mentioning that always again, because very often it happens among feminist theoreticians, authors, practitioners, to speak either about either criticizing patriarchal phenomena or speaking about emancipation. And you never, so sometimes you speak about this extreme and another time about, and it's very important. And I hope that I will be convincing for all of you. And I'm mentioning again and again to all my colleagues, feminists, male, female, that have to have in mind this dialectic or these matchings or the constant struggle, existence of counter tendencies of reproducing patriarchy and overcoming patriarchy through emancipatory trends. And that's to be the framework of analysis. So when we will develop intersectionality approach, we have to have in mind when within intersectionally multiple gender-based discrimination is concerned, that first ground that related to discrimination based on gender, sex, has to be considered through this dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation, not only patriarchy, because most often feminists and those relevant ones whom I mentioned and whose articles I put into the reader, they speak so interconnection of gender-based violence, patriarchy. But that's not only patriarchy. It used to be only patriarchy, but nowadays it's not only patriarchy. In each part of the world, it means in the most developed countries, in the most advanced emancipatory frameworks of relations among binary or non-binary persons, some elements of patriarchy for sure can be and have been reproduced. You never know how that long historical tradition of patriarchy comes through reactions to certain circumstances, in particular cases, how they come again into relations and demonstrate, manifest them. And also in the most, the least developed countries or regions or frameworks of gender relations, elements of emancipation nowadays in some amount, in the least or not only the least amount does exist. So this dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation is very important. And of course, I will mention, I will later speak a little bit more about this, how these emancipatory trends entered the space and caused this dialectic instead of the dominance of patriarchy. And there I will also speak a little bit about impacts of this dialectic on gender-based violence. Then there is the premise important for understanding the nowadays intersectionally understood gender-based violence, the impact of neoliberal globalization. Later I will speak a little bit about that, and how that neoliberal globalization in particular manners strengthened gender-based violence, then one of the premises which should be kept in mind, that all crises, different crises, always lead towards backsliding impacts on gender, on already achieved gender emancipatory trends, and how they cause the processes of repatriarchalization, clericalization, traditionalization. It's not easy to pronounce. And this main premise is intersectionality. The main point is that gender-based discrimination has never been only based on gender and sex, but has always been based on other discriminatory bases, being class, race, age, ability or disability, education, religious orientation, cultural framework, etc., etc., etc. So, and what is very important concerning this intersectionality approach, it does not mean that each person is just some kind of the patchwork combination of different belonging to a particular class, race, being discriminated also by patriarchy in the concrete historical context, then age, education, etc., etc. So that's not the point of intersectionality approach. Is not this identitarian ones or patchwork-like understanding of each person, although it also is better than just considering this gender-based discrimination on a single axis. It's better, but it's not enough, because the point is not on this containing parts of identity of one person, but on power relations, power systems which have been, how to say, impacting the life of each individual, meaning power system of class exploitation, power system of racism, of ageism, of ableism. So discrimination based on ability or disability does not mean just that that person has disability, but the whole power system of stereotypes and the devaluation of persons with disability also takes part in the multiple discrimination of those women or non-binary persons. And when speaking about intersectionality approach to gender-based violence, it's also very important and logically comes out from all what I mentioned before. And interrelation between intersectionality and gender justice, the huge topic. In the reader, you will have one, I think, good chapter on that, and I will shortly mention that. Then one of the premises is what I had already mentioned, diversity approach is necessary within intersectionality. So taking into account not only binary, but non-binary persons, intersex, transsex, gay, lesbian, etc. Then very important, and we will not pay enough attention because this is the complex topic for itself, global north, global south interplay within intersectionality approach to discrimination, but something shortly I will say later. And also something very important, so this intersectionality approach, first, as I said, has to include everything from premises 1 to 4 related to patriarchy, dialectical patriarchy and emancipation, etc., etc. But then also has to be attached, to be interconnected, complemented with the legal discourse of substantive gender equality. So political theories, discourse of intersectionality, political theories, discourse of gender justice. You know that political philosophy is designated by theories of justice, but feminist reconsideration of theories of justice, I will speak a little bit at the next lecture about that, means developing theories of justice, which are fantastic, very relevant. So both these intersectionality approach from gender justice approach these political theories two dimensions, complementary ones, and from the legal discourse or from feminist legal theories, the standpoint of the substantive gender equality. And
Professor, can I ask you something?
Yes, and thank you. I wanted to tell you all the time, I forgot it. Always interrupt me and ask me, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I raised my hand, but you didn't see.
Because I don't, sorry, because I don't have time to look at that.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Just to see if I understood you well, this dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation, is it like a mutual correlation between patriarchy and emancipation, where with the change of the emancipation, the patriarchy is also changing and adopting? Is that it, or I didn't understand it well?
First, I'm going to talk more about this dialectic, then it will be more clear. I only announced it last because that's complicated, and that was my introductory, how to say, outlining the framework of analysis. But dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation means that at the same time, there are some historical, social, political, economic, cultural trends which do reproduce patriarchal relations. I will speak about them now, about patriarchy a little bit more. On the other hand, from the time of 17th, 18th century political revolutions and industrial revolutions, the space was opened for the idea of universal equality, idea of universal right to vote. Women had to struggle for that for a long time afterwards, but I will talk about that. I do not want to. Yes, I will talk about it. So it means that in each case, let's how to say, both tendencies, two civilizational streams have been matching, crossing, struggling one against another in each of us as individuals, in our relations with other individuals, within social groups in which we take part, in our private space, families, public space. So, two civilizational tendencies, one which is designated by patriarchy, meaning subordination based on gender and sex. So subordination initially starting this story from women to men, mothers to husbands. So constructing the particular social roles which are heteronormative, hierarchical, and which impose subordination and devaluation of women in private and public life, and which create which result with particular social roles, which are constructs, social contracts, particular social roles for women as mothers, carers, household persons, private fields persons, and social roles of husbands, breadwinners, engage in public space, etc., etc. So that is very simply explained this heteronormative hierarchical nature of these basic gender relations based on gender and sex, the role of mothers in the reproduction as one of the causes for her reducing to the private sphere, to the role of mother, carer for kids, for the household, for cousins, etc., etc. But manifestations of patriarchy are not reduced only to the private sphere and the family, although there is their core. But as Welby, the relevant author for considering
এই রুমের মধ্যেই ওয়াইফাই পাইতো না আমার গেলে কেমনে পাবো কল বাজতেছে
that you pass. But if you want
This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
So you create your grade.
So we don't have a big exam in the end. We only have like.
That's only have the assignment. Believe me, this is because this is not an easy. How to say, that's a complex. 7, 8 lectures. They're not easy. Yeah. So it's much easier when you, from the beginning, you start reading, listening, taking part, participating in lectures, and doing assignments.
And the assignments are every week or
Tonight I will send you email because you still have not been registered. So all of you have to be, then it will be uploaded just there at Moodle. I will send you 2 assignments. One will be related to this interrelation between intersectionality and patriarchy. Another between intersectionality and gender justice and substantive gender equality. Nothing special, but still not so easy. Yeah. You have to read to understand. And then there is the rule, how many words, I don't know by heart. Up to that number of words, you write an assignment. Please don't use artificial intelligence, and plagiarism is really forbidden. Yes. Whenever I find out, I will then give 0 for that response. With your words, respond. And what I wanted to say. I wanted to say. So tonight or in the morning, you will get 2 assignments for the first lecture. By email, because you're not, but later on only at Moodle. After Friday lecture, again 2 assignments in the evening or in the morning. And you have the deadline inscribed in exam instructions. You will see exam instructions. Okay. And then until that time, respond. Okay. So that's not difficult.
Okay, perfect.
No exams.
Yes. Because, for example, this course is until the 27th of December, isn't it? But we're... No?
17th of... 17th of December.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
17th.
Because after that, we are going home for Christmas.
Yes. That's okay. And then you will have, I left, I think, šta pišu exam instructions? I left a few days, I think until 9th of January for the last response. So you go home.
Perfect.
You have enough time.
Yeah. That's great.
Deadline. December 20th. So from today, 20 days, more than 20 days. Yeah. I really was very flexible.
Perfect. Yeah. Sounds great. And for the other courses, it's the same?
No, for the other courses, it depends on professors. We never, imposed the same. I think this is the best, but the others think differently in some cases. Somewhere there will be, so you will get that information at the beginning. And maybe it should be already put at Moodle, but you're not at Moodle. So exam instructions have to be known from the beginning. So you know the rules.
Yeah, we are taking feminist judgment and the human rights both courses.
Nice, very good courses. In January.
And fantastic. This from December on, we're just taking this course.
Very good. Yeah. But this international law and European law is also, they're very good. Bojana Čučković, Ivana, and I think Maria Lajković. But okay, you opted for these 2 and 3, and also for some other courses at Master in European Integration or no?
No, I have
I'm so glad that you're here.
For the it's like a 1-to-1 certificate in Serbian, but I don't speak Serbian, so it's like.
And you're leaving, you're finishing your Erasmus mobility when?
March. Yeah. So we're here for like 1 semester.
But gender competent criminal law?
No, not in the masters. This was like.
I know, I understood you, but we have fantastic course, gender competent criminal law with Ivana Markovic, younger colleague who is great.
I saw this.
You are not there.
We're only here for 1 semester. Otherwise, I think it's in the spring.
Now, because of the student protests, everything is moved. So the first semester should be, or previously used to be ended until the new year. But now it's prolonged.
Yes.
So the second semester starts when? In the course schedule. I will send you also the course schedule. Okay, I think we can start. What is the time?
It's 4.
Fino, dobro.
Okay.
Još 1 minute more.
I'm in class.
Again. Samo da snimanje. Resume. So we are starting again. I finished with how gender-based violence has been caused and in the core of patriarchy, based in the core of patriarchy. And I will not speak, but please read because there are many interesting data about gender-based violence embedded into ancient laws, of course, even more in the practice, in the life, and germs of emancipation in modernity and establishing of dialectic of patriarchy and emancipation. So emancipatory counter tendencies had emerged since political revolutions of the 18th century, when ideas about universal equality were articulated in the American Declaration of Independence from 1776 and the French Universal Declaration on the Rights of the Man and of the Citizen from 1789. And also, as I already mentioned, industrial revolutions. Why industrial revolutions? Because the mass production needed more labor force, and that was the way how women entered the factories. We know from Engels' books, from other sources, how horrible working conditions were for women, for children, no restrictions for the night work, etc., etc., violence towards them without sanctions and so on and so on. But anyway, this entering the public sphere through the mass production, which came on agenda with industrial revolution or industrial revolutions, opened space for women to enter the public space of economics. And why is that important? In spite of all horrible mentioned or not mentioned